Slavery Abolition Act of 1833 had its final reading on the 26th of July of that year, 3 days before the death of William Wilberforce, perhaps the most famous sponsor. It didn't come into force until the 1st of August the following year, and students of the slave trade will know that it was merely a tentative start, full of exemptions, limitations and postponed provisions. This statute commemorates one of the lesser-known campaigners for abolition, Thomas Clarkson. Clarkson was born here in Wisbech in 1760 and died in 1845. This memorial was erected to his memory in 1880 and was designed by Sir George Gilbert Scott, who also designed the Albert Memorial and St Pancras Station in London. Walk around the elegant Georgian crescent towards which the statue faces and you'll come to our fascinating town museum, in which there's a very moving display of Clarkson's work, including the box of items and pictures which he carried around the country to reveal the unspeakable cruelty, horror and injustice of the slave trade to the people of the towns and cities whose voices and votes he won over to the cause of abolition. Wisbech names Thomas Clarkson as its greatest son, and we're often heard to say that we are proud of his work and this memorial to his memory, and we are proud of this statue and the man it honours. But pride, as they say, is a sin and comes before a fall. It calls for an act of repentance. Clarkson should be remembered as someone who considered the facts, who thought about them carefully, who changed his mind and then acted. His work in the anti-slavery movement was almost an accident, born of an essay which he had been set in a Latin competition while Clarkson was studying at St John's College, Cambridge. Students were invited to write upon the subject Anne Liceat invitos in servitutem dare. Is it right to make slaves of others against their will? It's said that he prepared the essay with an open mind, for slavery was regarded by many respectable people of that day, including a great number of Anglicans, as entirely legitimate and part of the natural order of the world. I'm ashamed to say that not only did the Church of England own slaves, but all the bishops in the House of Lords opposed the Abolition Act of 1833. But Clarkson, son of a clergyman, considered the facts carefully, changed his mind, and then acted. In his studies, Clarkson came to realise that slavery was a vile corruption of the human condition, and that its practice was the very essence of evil. His essay won the prize and launched his lifetime's work as an abolitionist, along with his more famous colleagues Wilberforce, Wedgwood, Sharp, and of course Ola Uda Equiano. But to say we have pride in this memorial and in this statute is to forget that its origin is in shame that the nation's wealth was built upon the broken bodies and spilt blood of so many children, women and men around the globe. Peoples and nations were cruelly subjugated by our ancestors to produce cotton, sugar, tobacco, tea, even opium, the commodities of empire. And chief among these crimes against humanity was the enslavement of black African people, a terrible wrong and the nation's sin for which Clarkson sought to atone. So I'm not going to say that I'm proud of this memorial. I'm proud of Thomas Clarkson, the greatest son of Wisbech, without also saying that I'm ashamed of the terrible crimes which he strove to expose and of the wrongs which he sought to right. And I'll only say that I'm proud when this country has found a way to expunge the racism which still remains so much a part of its society, racism which will only become history itself when all the people of this nation, irrespective of origin, race or creed, consider the facts, change their minds and take the right action. Thomas Clarkson took his stand and received this great memorial 140 years ago because he believed that black lives matter. I take the knee today because in humility I too believe that black lives matter.